My daughter's boyfriend helped me with groceries. You will not believe what happened in the kitchen. Today, I have a story that might make you raise an eyebrow or even question what you'd do in my shoes. It started off like any ordinary afternoon. My daughter's boyfriend offered to help carry in the groceries. Sweet, right? But what happened once we stepped into that kitchen? Just the two of us turned an ordinary moment into something unforgettable. Was it a misunderstanding? Or something much more? Keep watching because this story takes a turn no one saw coming. Would you like a matching conclusion with controversial viewer prompts as well? Like the video, share your thoughts and comments, and subscribe for more amazing stories. I never imagined a moment as ordinary as unpacking groceries could shift something deep inside me. My daughter's boyfriend Ethan offered to help when my back was aching and my mood was worse. I had always seen him as just a polite young man until that day in the kitchen. His hands brushed mine too many times, and his eyes lingered in ways they never had before. There was a pause, a silence where something unspoken sparked. I should have walked away. I should have told him to stop. But what happened next, I never expected it, and I cannot forget it. The day had been long filled with errands that had taken more energy than I wanted to admit. I had turned 50 earlier that year, and while I still moved with purpose, I could feel age settling in my bones more often than before. My daughter Lily had been busy with her internship, so I offered to take care of the grocery shopping for the week. When I pulled into the driveway, Ethan was already there, sitting on the porch steps, scrolling through his phone. He stood the moment he saw me, his boyish smile lighting up his face as he jogged over. "Need a hand, Miss Carter?" he asked, reaching for the heavier bags before I could respond. I managed a tired laugh. "Only if you do not mind carrying what feels like an entire farmer's market." He chuckled, lifting the bags with ease, and followed me inside. Ethan had been around for nearly a year now. He was 24, respectful, intelligent, and had a quiet confidence about him. I had always appreciated his manners, how he always greeted me with a smile and offered help without being asked. He was good for Lily. I had often told myself reliable. Inside the kitchen, he began unloading the bags with a calm efficiency that made me pause. It had been a long time since a man helped me in the kitchen, even in such a small way. My ex-husband had left nearly a decade ago, and I had long accepted the rhythm of being alone, the independence, the silence. But now, standing beside Ethan in the soft glow of the afternoon sun, streaming through the windows, I felt an unfamiliar stillness, the kind that made you hyper-aware of the present moment. I busied myself with arranging the produce, but I could sense his presence, the nearness of him, more than I should have. He handed me a jar of sauce, our fingers brushing slightly. A simple touch, nothing more, but it lingered. I looked up. He was watching me. "You okay?" he asked, voice gentle. I nodded quickly, forcing a smile. "Yes, just a little tired. Long day?" He stepped closer, his eyes scanning my face in a way that felt different. Not inappropriate, not overt, just different, like he saw something he had not noticed before, or maybe he had and had chosen not to acknowledge it until now. "Let me do the rest," he offered, beginning to reach for the remaining items. I waved him off. "You have already done enough. Lily will kill me if she finds out I worked you like this." He laughed, then hesitated. "She would not mind. I mean, I like helping you. You do everything alone." That made me stop. It was a simple observation, yet it landed heavier than I expected. "I do," I said almost to myself. He opened the refrigerator door, placing the milk inside, then turned back to me. "You should not have to do everything alone." There was a warmth in his tone. Not romantic, not suggestive, but caring, sincere. It threw me off balance. Most young men were too distracted, too self-involved to notice women like me, especially women like me, mothers, women past their prime, women with stretch marks and stories and regrets. "Ethan." I began, unsure of what I was going to say next. He interrupted me gently. "You are beautiful, you know that." I froze. The air in the kitchen changed instantly. "That is sweet of you," I said, trying to brush it off even though something inside me trembled. "I am not trying to be sweet," he said quietly, placing the last bag down. "I meant it." We stood there in silence, the kind that was no longer comfortable. the kind that pulsed with something unnamed. I took a step back, heart thudding for reasons I did not want to admit. He noticed. "I did not mean to make you uncomfortable." "You did not," I said quickly. Too quickly. But I was lying. Not because his words unsettled me, but because they awakened something I had buried for a long time, a part of me that wanted to feel seen, desired a part, one thought I had left behind long ago. Lily's voice echoed in my mind, her laughter, her trust. I turned away, busying myself with wiping the counter, needing to break the moment before it became something I could not take back. "You should probably go," I said without looking at him. "Are you sure?" I nodded. "Yes, thank you again for helping." He waited a moment before stepping toward the door. "Any time, Miss Carter." When the door closed behind him, I stood there, hands braced on the countertop, breathing deeply. It was nothing, just a moment. But it did not feel like nothing, and deep down, I knew that moment was just the beginning. That night, I could not sleep. I turned over more times than I could count, the sheets twisting around me like silent questions I did not want to answer. My mind kept circling back to Ethan's voice. Low, gentle, sincere. "You should not have to do everything alone. You are beautiful." Those words had not been said to me in years. Not like that, not without expectation, not without motive. Kiss scene. And something about that scared me more than I could explain. When morning came, I looked in the mirror for longer than usual. My eyes lingered on the lines that had grown at the corners, on the soft creases around my mouth. My hair, long and chestnut with faint streaks of silver, still held its shape, even though I had stopped caring so much about perfection years ago. My body was fuller, softer than it once had been, but there was still something there. A woman who maybe still deserved to feel wanted. The thought came and went like a whisper, and I shut it down as quickly as it surfaced. 2 days passed. Lily was busy with work, and Ethan had not come by. I told myself that was for the best, that he had spoken out of kindness or maybe youthful confusion. But then I opened my front door Thursday afternoon, and there he was again, holding a brown paper bag. "Thought I would drop off that pasta I told you about," he said, casually lifting the bag. My heart did a small flip. I hated that it did. "You are making deliveries now?" I asked, trying to inject humor into my voice even though my nerves were already tightening. He shrugged. "You said you liked that brand. Figured I would bring it over since I was passing by." I stepped aside. "Come in." It was supposed to be a quick visit, just a drop-off. But somehow we ended up in the kitchen again, unpacking the groceries together just like the last time, except this time there was no avoiding the air between us. It was thicker now, tar. A silent pull that neither of us acknowledged out loud, but both of us felt. "You have not returned my texts," he said quietly after a long pause. I looked up. I needed space, I figured. He leaned against the counter, arms crossed. Did I cross a line? I opened my mouth, then closed it. Honesty felt dangerous, but lying felt worse. "I do not know," I finally said. "I think it scared me the way I felt when you said those things." Ethan looked at me for a long moment, then softly. "How did you feel? Desired, guilty, confused, like a woman again?" "Like I remembered something I thought I had lost," I admitted. He stepped forward slowly. "You did not lose it. Maybe you just stopped letting yourself feel it." I did not move. He was close now, not touching, but near enough that I could feel the heat of him. My heart thudded in my chest. I should have stopped this. I should have changed the subject or asked him to leave. But I did not, Ethan. I whispered, unsure of what I was even going to say. But he interrupted me, not with words, but with the gentlest touch. His fingers graced mine as he took the dish towel from my hand, setting it down. Then his hand stayed on mine. Light, careful, as if asking for permission without speaking. "I think about you," he said quietly. "More than I probably should." I swallowed hard, every nerve in my body alive. "You are with my daughter." "I know," he said, his voice low. "And I care about her, but she does not see me. Not the way you do, not the way you listen. That does not make this right." "I am not saying it does," he replied. "I am just saying it is real." My eyes closed for a moment, struggling to make sense of the feelings storming inside me. Morality, age, motherhood, desire, all colliding in a space too small for comfort. Then I felt his hand on my cheek. It was soft, hesitant. I looked at him, really looked, and for a moment I saw not just my daughter's boyfriend, but a man who had noticed me, who had chosen to look past years, past roles, past expectations. And I wanted him to stop, but I also wanted him to keep going. So when he leaned in and his lips brushed mine, I did not pull away. It was not a hungry kiss. It was slow, warm, and filled with restraint, like he was holding himself back, afraid to hurt me, or afraid of what this might become. When we broke apart, I stepped back, breath trembling. "This is wrong," I said, voice shaky. "But it happened," he replied. I nodded. "And it cannot happen again." He looked down, jaw tight. "I understand. I am not angry," I added. "I am just lost." "You are not lost," he said. "You are just finally feeling something real." And that was the most terrifying part. He stayed a few more minutes, both of us pretending we were okay, talking about small things, groceries, whether Lily's new internship, as if we had not just crossed a line we could never uncross. When he left, I stood in the silence of the kitchen again. Everything was the same. The counters, the fridge, the groceries still unpacked. But I was not the same. Something had awakened. Not just desire, not just attraction, but something deeper. The need to feel visible again, valuable, not just as a mother, not just as a woman of a certain age, but as me. And that was not something I could ignore anymore. The days that followed felt like I was walking a tightrope. Every time Lily mentioned Ethan, my stomach twisted. Every time I saw his name flash on my phone, I ignored it, then hated myself for doing so. The kitchen where everything had happened became both a refuge and a minefield. I would stand near the counter, remembering his fingers brushing mine, the look in his eyes, the kiss, and then just as quickly I would retreat, wiping my hands on my apron like I could scrub the memory away. Guilt took up residence in me. It was not just a passing feeling, it lived in my chest. How could I have let it happen? How could I have crossed a boundary that as a mother I should have guarded more than anything? But then late at night I would remember the way he looked at me. Not with pity, not with condescension, but with admiration, with hunger, with awe, like I was not just someone's mother, like I was someone still worth looking at that way. And that created a second kind of guilt, the one that asked, why did that feel so good? I tried to keep my distance. When Ethan came over, I would busy myself in another room or leave entirely. I would find errands that needed doing or calls I suddenly had to make. But he noticed. He always noticed. "Are you avoiding me?" he asked one afternoon when Lily was out of the room. I did not look at him. "I am trying to be respectful, to who yourself or to her, to all of us," I said firmly, though my voice shook. He stepped closer, not touching, but close enough that I could feel the tension tighten between us like a drawn string. "I meant what I said," he murmured. "You are not invisible. You are not done being desired." I turned to him, jaw clenched. Desire does not justify betrayal, and being loyal does not mean you have to disappear. That struck something in me, something old, something tired of shrinking. "You do not understand what it means to carry all this." I whispered, to raise someone, to sacrifice everything, to watch yourself become background noise in your own life. He looked at me, really looked. "I see you," he said softly. "Even when you are hiding from yourself," and just like that, I felt my throat tighten. It had been so long since anyone had said that to me, since anyone had acknowledged that I was more than just the caretaker, the planner, the one who keeps everything afloat. I had become so used to being the one who held others that I had forgotten how it felt to be held emotionally, even just with words. But every time he said something like that, the ache inside me deepened. Not because I did not believe him, but because I did. Because for the first time in years, someone was offering me something real, and I knew I could not have it. The guilt, the fear, the love I had for my daughter, they were all stacked against this quiet, dangerous truth growing between us. And yet I began to see things differently. I noticed the ways Lily had become distant lately, the way she laughed less around Ethan, the way she would check her phone even when he was sitting beside her. She was 23, young-spirited, restless. She liked Ethan. I knew that. But she did not see him. Not in the way I had started to, not in the way he clearly saw me. One evening, while she was upstairs, Ethan helped me clean up after dinner. We moved around each other with the kind of practiced silence that only two people carrying a secret can share. At one point, our hands touched as we reached for the same glass, and we froze. I looked at him, eyes wide, heart pounding. He did not say a word, but his eyes said everything. "I miss you. This is unbearable. Please say something real," and I almost did. I almost dropped the pretense, the rules, the years of motherly restraint. Almost said, "I miss you too." But I did not, because saying it would mean accepting it, and accepting it would mean breaking something sacred. So instead, I turned away. I finished the dishes. I smiled when Lily came downstairs. I carried on. But inside the war, between what I felt and what I could live with, raged louder than ever. I was 50. I had spent decades teaching my daughter about integrity, about boundaries, about love, and here I was trembling in the kitchen over the one person I should have never let close. And yet, there was something so achingly human in what was happening, something raw, something about being noticed, desired, held, and it terrified me how much I wanted to be seen again. The moment of truth came quietly, not with a dramatic confrontation or screaming. It came one evening when Lily walked into the kitchen while Ethan and I stood at opposite ends, silent, tense, caught in the thick of everything unsaid. She looked at us, her eyes sharp and knowing, and then she spoke. "I do not think this is working," she said to Ethan. "Between us." He hesitated but nodded. "I know." I looked at her stunned, but she only smiled, tired, understanding. "I think you liked him more than I ever did, Mom." I could not breathe. She turned to me, her voice softer now. "You gave everything to raise me. I watched you forget yourself. If someone sees you again, really sees you, I want that for you, even if it hurts a little at first." Tears filled my eyes. I stepped forward, tried to speak, but she hugged me instead. "I love you, Mom. Just promise me you will be honest with yourself." When she left, Ethan and I stood there, the weight of guilt and permission settling between us. He reached out gently, took my hand. "You still want to run?" he asked. I shook my head. "No," I whispered. "Not this time." In that quiet kitchen, the past behind us and the future uncertain, I finally allowed myself to feel what I had buried. Desire, hope, and something dangerously close to love. Not just for him, but for... So what really happened in that kitchen? Was it innocent kindness or something that crossed the line? Sometimes the line between gratitude and discomfort can blur in an instant, and in that moment I had to decide how to interpret his intentions. Was I overthinking? Or was there something my daughter needed to know? This story isn't just about groceries. It's about trust instincts and those unexpected moments that test our boundaries. Now, I want to hear from you. Was he just being helpful, or was there something deeper behind that look? If you were in my place, would you have told your daughter or stayed silent? Is there such a thing as being too friendly with your partner's parent? Follow me so I have more motivation to create better videos, or encourage me by pressing number 1.